Okay, so I have my pot on the stove. I just turned the heat on, getting it warmed up a little bit. If you remember, I have all my mise en place is back here on the counter, so I'm going to add things as I need. I also have my pot of broth back here that's kind of warm and simmering. It's on basically on low. I have my spatula. I have a spoon that I'm going to use to put the broth in. I also have a strainer because I don't want all like the bits of stuff. I want to sort of keep all of that out. So those are the tools that I'm going to be using. And the first thing I'm going to start with is a little bit of oil. And you want to use, a good quality olive oil. Oh, I might have put a little too much in there. Oh well. Believe it or not, this olive oil from Costco is really, really good. What you want to look for, obviously this says extra virgin, but it also will have a date on it so that you know that this is fresh. So it was when it was packaged in 2024 and the expiry is in 2026. So that's the kind of thing you want to look for on your olive oil, that it actually has an expiry date on it. So I'll put that there. My oil is heating up. The next thing that goes in are my aromatics. So throw in my onion and garlic. And my mushrooms. Now, the thing about mushrooms is that they give off quite a bit of liquid. And I want to make sure that I get most of that off before I add my rice. I want to try and, it's one of the terms for this is sweating. So we're sweating our vegetables. We're sweating the garlic, onions, and mushrooms to try and get as much of the liquid out as possible. What that does is it concentrates the flavor. Okay, so I'm doing that a little bit here. Okay, next I'm going to add my rice. Here we go. And I'm just kind of toasting this around. Again, the onions and the mushrooms are still kind of sweating out a little bit, like that. I just want to keep it moving so that it doesn't burn. And the rice is starting to get a little bit toasty and coated with the oil. All right, that's good. Next goes in the wine. And again, this is about half a cup of wine, dry white wine. Again, this is what I'm going to be drinking with my dinner. And that goes in. That is the only cold wet liquid that I'm going to be adding to this. After this, I'm not adding anything cold because I don't want the temperature to come down. So once this is reduced a little bit and it starts to look a little bit thick, that's when I'm going to start adding in the broth. Now I'm going to turn the heat down to about medium to medium low, because I don't want this to boil super rapidly, because I don't want the stock to boil off and too quickly, faster than say the rice can absorb it. So I'm putting in my first bit of broth. 1 spoonful, it's about half a cup. I put that in. I'll just put this back here, give it a stir around. And now I'm just going to let it reduce. I'm going to do this several more times. You don't need to see me doing it multiple times. So I'm going to put this on pause, and then I'm going to come back to it and show you what it looks like towards the end. The only thing I'll mention at this point is that you know when to add the next bit of liquid when this starts to get sort of thick and you see that most of the liquid has been absorbed. Okay, so it's not quite there yet. I'll let it go a little bit more. I might speed up the video a little bit for you, but it takes a couple of minutes before it gets completely absorbed. Again, depends on what the temperature you have on. If you've got it on maximum, it's going to boil off really quickly. If you've got it on medium, so it's simmering like this, it's just going to boil off a little bit slower. See if I can show it to you here. That's sort of the consistency as I'm getting ready to add the second spoonful of liquid. So here we go. Give it a stir and let it reduce. Okay, we are pretty much at the end here. So you can see now how thick this is, but it's still just a tiny little bit runny. The way to tell that it's done, like literally I just taste it. I put a little bit on a spoon, stick it in my mouth, and as long as the grains are don't have a hard core in the center, then it's ready to go. So I'm actually going to turn this off. I'm going to add just a smidge more of the broth, not a lot, because, so I've just kind of added the last little bit of broth, and I will tell you that I maybe didn't heat up enough broth. I ended up having to boil the kettle, and I put some boiling water in with the broth. The other thing I did that, I don't know, I don't usually do is I used a broth that was already salted. I don't like doing that. I don't like using salted broth because then you can't control how much salt is in the dish. So I would say to use unsalted, because then you can change the saltiness of it. Okay, so just add a little bit more broth here. Like I said, you want this to be a little bit runnier than you would want to serve it, because as soon as I add the cheese, it's going to tighten up. Okay, so it's kind of the consistency of like a rice pudding, I guess. So the next thing that goes in, my cheese. I should have saved a little bit so I could have decorated the top, but see how it kind of is starting to come together now as soon as I add that cheese. Okay, the next thing I'm going to add is my my chopped herbs and my lemon zest. I'm going to throw that in, just like that. You could also add a little bit of butter in at this point if you want to be really decadent. So I'm adding that. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of lemon juice. It's like maybe a couple of teaspoons. I didn't even use all the lemon juice that I squeezed out because I just don't think it really needs it. And then the last thing I'm going to add is my cooked sausage meat. I could have done that all together, but I thought, no, I just kind of want to add it afterwards. All right, so there's the consistency. So it's actually pretty tight right now. I like it to be a bit on the runny side. So I'm just going to use my spoon to plate this up so you can see what the consistency should be. Okay, so it's still, there we go. There. So there is one portion of risotto with lemon, herbs, and Italian sausage. So enjoy.